This song goes out to 2024. Your smile so deceptive that it almost looks real. Well, it must be hard to fake what you do not really feel. You're hiding, I know it. Tell me what's on your mind. I only wish to help. Won't you let me back inside? Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Let me inside. Your face shows no reaction when I call out your name. Your presence like a ghost. You seem so far away, and you know that I love you, but the words seem to have died. I just want this to end. Please let me back inside. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Let me inside. Your eyes, just look at me when I look at you, because you must realize you're barely holding on and I'm holding tight. Would you just please try? Don't give in, you have to fight. Why won't you hear my cry? I don't wanna say goodbye. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Say that it's over. Tell me the truth truth just one last time. I promise I'll help you. If only you'll let me back inside. Say that it's over. I don't wanna hear another lie. I just wanna help you. Please won't you let me back inside? There we go. All right, well, good evening, folks, or good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Quincy Kane here, and this is live stream number 158. And not only is it number 158, but it's also the last stream of 2024. So while I was about to play that song, I was like, hey, this is kind of convenient because it's the last stream of the year. So say that it's over. Thought that was an appropriate song to open up with. Obviously, there's still a little bit of 2024 left to go, and definitely make it count. You know, hopefully it's been a good year for all of you. I think it's been a good year for me, but I honestly just haven't had time to reflect yet. And I'm really looking forward to that. I've got some reflection time scheduled. It's coming up, and I'm going to be taking some time off. Again, this is the last stream of this year. There's not going to be any streams for the next 2 weeks, and then we should be back up. So definitely going to miss you guys, but I definitely need that time just to spend with family and just some time to reflect back on this year, start making preparations for next year. And I'm definitely excited for things to come. And as far as I recall, it has been a good year, and I hope the same for you. I hope all of you have had a good 2024. You'll have to let me know, how has your 2024 been? Let me know. Let me catch up with the chat here, and then I'll talk about what we're going to be doing. This stream, I'm sharing my process. This is a segment where I kind of talk about different things, whether I'm producing a song or maybe it's a certain music technique for singing or playing guitar. Or in this case, we're going to be talking about what goes into making music videos. And so we're going to get into that. Usually I don't actually perform during this segment, but since it was the last this is going to be the last stream of this year, I thought I would go ahead and perform some songs. So I do plan to play a few songs, and I'm going to be sharing with you guys just some of the things that go into my process as I am, whenever I'm producing a music video. So we're going to talk all about that. But let's catch up with the chat. We got quite a chatty chat, and I like seeing that. We got Justine. Hey, Justine, hope you're doing well. We got Brian, Take Two drum covers. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Rebel, always appreciate you sharing. Thank you. That means a lot. Definitely shout out to you and others who have shared. Again, I'm going to be talking about this the latest music video that I put out, Plastic Cup, and other music videos that I've done. But it's definitely thanks to many of you who share it that have brought attention to it. Shout out to those like Jeff over at Metalhead Hippie and Chad, who use their platforms to share people's music, and they've played my music video and brought a lot of traction over there. So I really appreciate that. We've got Jack and Stan in the chat. Good to see you all, and we've got Nuke in the chat. Hey Nuke, good to see you. And I think that's we got Leo in the chat too. Hey Leo, good to see you as well. So let me catch up here. I see everyone, but let me kind of read some of your comments. I was asking about Christmas movies. I don't know about you. It's been a busy month for me. I haven't even had time to watch any Christmas movies. I've only seen two. One was for my nephew's birthday. We celebrated his 13th birthday and had a pajama-themed party, like Christmas party, because his birthday's in December. And we were with the family, and we all watched Home Alone 2. So that was fun. And then I've been in the mood for some Jim Carrey. And I'd never seen the Christmas Carol, or A Christmas Carol, that the animated one with Jim Carrey in it. I'd never seen it. I had low expectations for it. Let's just say that. But I was hopeful. I was hopeful. Well, maybe there's something good in it. And it's not bad. Like, Jim is great in it, but it's just something about the way it's made. I'm not going to go into it, but the movie was made with motion capture technology, so it's not purely animated. It's like they capture the motion of the actors performing the movements, and then they add the animation later. But it kind of feels like it just sort of self-indulges in the technology. Like, it's so trying to show off like what this technology can do that it kind of gets away from the story. And you feel like it's one of those movies where like stuff's happening, but nothing's happening, if that makes sense. It's like things are happening, but you're just not engaged in the story. And it's kind of a shame. So those are the only two movies I've seen so far. Let's see here. Jack was saying, I saw Home Alone and the most recent animated Grinch. Yeah, I remember seeing that one. I think I went to see that in theaters with probably with my nephews and nieces when it came out. I wasn't particularly a fan of it. I like the Jim Carrey Grinch, and you know, the original Grinch is a classic. But to be honest, I think I got to go Jim Carrey on that one. I think that's probably my favorite iteration of the Grinch. Let's see here. Jack was saying, I know I'm not the only one who could be there for these people, but for some reason it's me, the dude with crippling anxiety most of the time, who these people turn to for help. Jack was just talking about a party he went to and just how he seems to be put in these situations with maybe people who seem to have challenges themselves, you know, some that are kind of difficult to deal with. And yeah, sometimes it's a benefit to be in that. We don't always expect to be there, but sometimes we're connected with people that we can relate to, or we can share some kind of experience we've had and be a benefit to them. And sometimes these people can be beneficial to us as well. These interactions can sort of teach us something or kind of help us. So as long as, you know, I think as long as you have kind of a heart of sensitivity and just a willingness to kind of hear people out and trying to connect with them, I think you can walk away from those interactions learning something new and hopefully kind of growing and improving in yourself. Rebel, I appreciate you sharing. Sounds great. Sharing out. See you soon. Yep, always appreciate you sharing. Got some hellos happening. Jack was saying also a few Christmas-themed horror movies. Yeah, the Finnish, I guess it's Finnish. I know you mean like Finland. You know, one was okay, but the others were terrible. Yeah, I could see those. I could definitely see people enjoying those. I don't know if that would be my cup of tea, but it doesn't surprise me. There's some Christmas horror films out there. I kind of like The Night Before Christmas. I'm not as like crazy about. I know some people like absolutely adore that movie. Maybe if I grew up with it, I would be. I kind of saw it later. It's definitely good. Like I like it. There's a lot I like about it. But yeah. Let's see here. Stan saying, digging the Italian vibe in the background. It's supposed to be Christmas, but it probably looks Italian because the backlight probably looks white, and then you got green and yeah. So yeah, I was thinking I'd show you guys my you know, spaghetti and meatball recipe later. All right, let's see here. More hellos happening. Killer tune. Thank you, Rebel. Appreciate that. Thank you for the applause. Whoops. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up here. Trying to get all caught up. I know there's been some stuff happening in the chat. Awesome stuff. Merry Christmas, everyone. Yeah, I hope you all are having a good December so far. I hope you're all going to have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Definitely excited about that. Nuke was saying, I still feel like it's September. It's not. I'm not going to let that go. It isn't Christmas time yet. Yeah, it's amazing how fast time can go. One thing I will say, I'm going to make this super quick, but a little lesson I learned. Sometimes the reason time seems to go by faster is because we fall into a routine and we're constantly living the same day over and over again or doing the same things over and over again. So we don't have as many memories to reflect back on. So the more variation you can present into your life, like the more new experiences you can have, the longer time seems. You know, it doesn't seem like it goes by as fast because you have more memories to fill up that space. But if you're constantly just doing the same routine on a weekly basis for a whole year, you think back on the year, there's not a whole lot of distinctive memories, and so it all kind of just blurs together. So there's a little life hack for you all. So try to present some more variation in your life. Try to change it up, do something new, learn something new, have a new experience, make some good memories. Leo says, my family plays A Christmas Story on loop every year. Yeah, I might have to get around to watching that. Rebel saying Scrooge is my favorite, the original. Yeah, I need to see that one. I may have seen it before. I know there's been a few iterations, so I can't recall. I think I know which one you're talking about, and I think I've seen it. But Justine was saying, I just saw the 2018 Grinch animated movie. It was really cute. Yeah, I think, again, not my favorite iteration, but I think it was pretty good. I thought there were kind of some tonal shifts. You know, sometimes it sounded like it wanted to be really silly, and then sometimes it seemed like it wanted to be like really serious, especially for like a kids movie. And that's not to say that kid movies can't have heart and have like serious messages to them, but the way it presented it felt like such a jarring shift to me. But again, I've only seen it once. Maybe on a second watch, I would come to appreciate it a bit more. But I could agree. I think calling it cute would be a good way to describe it. Certainly cute animation. Nuke was saying, I watched Netflix's newest release, Carry On. It's not a Christmas movie and isn't really original. It's an action movie, but the villain is smart. Kind of refreshing. Interesting. I don't think I'd seen that one. I don't think I'd even heard about that, but I like action movies, so I might have to look at that. I might have to check out Carry On. Smash that like button. Yeah, thanks, Rebel. Appreciate it. Justine loves The Nightmare Before Christmas. Hey, we got Fab in the chat. Hey, it is Thursday. Getting old. I forget the days. Hello, Quincy in chat. Appreciate you tuning in, Fab. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. My face in the middle also makes it an Italian flag, apparently. So there we go. Yeah, we got a little bit of a supposed to be Christmas theme, but might be more of an Italian theme happening behind me. Jack was saying one was called "It's a Wonderful Knife." Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that somebody made that. A parody of "It's a Wonderful Life." The other is called "Carnage of Christmas." The first movie, all the main characters seem to be gay. Do you mean like gay and merry, like happy about Christmas, or do you mean something else? Fab says, "Don't get philosophical on us, Quincy." Fab, you should know by now, I'm a deep thinker, so philosophy's coming whether you like it or not. I'm a deep thinker, and I'm going to share my thoughts with all of you. So, Stan says, "I love both Christmas and Italian." So there we go. We'll just have an Italian Christmas. There we go. Ernest Saves Christmas. Yeah, I haven't seen that for. I still don't know how that movie ends because we had that movie as a kid and it was recorded like on VHS. So it must have played on TV and we recorded it. And I'd watch it over and over again, but we never had the end of the movie. So I still need to get like a copy of that movie just to see how it ends. Jack was saying, in the other, the main character is transgender. Couldn't relate to either film. Fab was saying, how far back is Quincy in the chat? Well, I'm catching up. Never mind. Yeah. I like to read and then kind of expound on what somebody said. You know, I like to talk back to them, not just read it. So anyway, we're all caught up. All right, let's talk about what we're doing today. Some of you might know I just put out a music video for my song Plastic Cup. And I want to share with you guys my process, like what goes into actually making a music video, especially when you're having to make music videos all by yourself. You know, I'm a DIY independent filmmaker, basically. And that's the thing about like pursuing a music career. You have to wear a lot of hats. You have to do a lot of jobs. You know, I am a music engineer, music producer, songwriter. I'm a performer, you know, instrumentalist. I am a filmmaker, you know, camera operator. I'm an actor. Like you have to be so many. I'm a marketing, I don't want to say expert. I don't know what you call that. I'm a marketing somebody. I do something with marketing, you know, and constantly learning and having to acquire a lot of skills just to do a lot of this stuff on your own. And so I'm going to share with you guys this video. And yeah, if you haven't seen it already, I think most of you have seen it. But if you haven't, definitely be sure to check it out. Be sure to share it and like it, leave a comment on it, all that stuff. But I think what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and watch the video. And then I'm going to kind of break down some things that went into making this specific one. I'm also going to kind of show some older videos. We're not going to watch them all, but I kind of want to do some comparison and just kind of explain what actually goes into the filmmaking process. Like, what does it take to, because there's a lot more to it. You don't just grab your phone camera and just point at yourself singing the song. Like, there's a lot that goes into actually making a music video. And so I hope you find it interesting. Maybe some of you are interested in making your own music videos, or maybe you're just curious what goes into the process. So first, we're going to watch the music video I made. And by all means, if you have any questions, feel free to share them. You might think of some questions as you're watching the video, like you're like, oh, you know, how'd you do that shot, or how'd you come up with that, or how do you handle this? You know, whatever questions you have about music videos, definitely feel free to ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. Yeah, Nuke says that's my secret. I don't wear any hats. Life is probably a lot simpler when you don't wear any hats. So there we go. All right, here we go. We're gonna watch this video, and then yeah, if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. So this is the music video I made for my song "Plastic Cup," and let me know if you can hear it.
Show me some love and tell me that I am good enough.
tossed away like a plastic cube. And here I'm trying once again, like litter trapped inside the wind, still believing I can get a hold of things. Every effort leads to new mistakes, and I crawl back to the same old place. I need someone who can lend a hand and pull me from this garbage can. With someone, just show me some love and tell me that I am good enough. I'm born out, comments fill me up, so I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. With someone, just show me some love and tell me that I am good enough. I'm born out, comments fill me up, so I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. And still I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. It's for your emotions. There's something inside of me, and I know it's more than just a break. With someone to show me some love and tell me that I am good enough. I'm born out, comments fill me up, so I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. I know you feel like a piece of trash, thrown away and forgotten, but please don't let go, 'cause to me, you're treasure. All right, there we go. So that was the video. I know it was a little quiet. I was trying not to blast you guys, and I wanted to keep it a little quiet in case I needed to comment over it. So anyway, again, if you have any questions, let me know. Of course, Fab was asking who edited the video, and of course, I did. I did everything myself. Fab actually commented that he didn't care for the video. And we can kind of get into that a little bit, because the reality is, yeah, it's a pretty simple video. But that's kind of part of the gig when you have to do everything by yourself. You have to realize that everything you do is on a timeline. Like, you can't just take the luxury to take all the time in the world to make the greatest video ever and put it out. You have to do it within a time frame. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but let's see here. But yeah, now hopefully I'm not blasting you guys. You might have to turn the volume back down. If the video was quiet, my mic might be a little bit louder now, so hopefully we're good. Nuke was saying the shot with the camera through the cup was interesting. Yep, just coming up with just interesting perspectives. That's kind of the key word there. Like, when you're doing a video, just trying to come up with anything that's kind of like, you know, it might not be like the most mind-blowing shot in the world, but as long as it's like a little intriguing and it's something that's like, huh, what is that? You know, it just makes you want to look. Now, for some people, maybe it doesn't work, but that's kind of the concept behind it. Okay, anyway. All right, so here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about that. So first off, one thing, some of you guys know that I love movies. And actually, in my young adult years, I used to make a lot more movies and that kind of thing. And so I've always liked them. I kind of got into filmmaking when I was younger. And in my early young adult years, I kind of, I knew I wanted to do something creative, like for a career, but I wasn't sure what yet. I think I was just secretly hoping, like, I would just make whatever projects I was in the mood for at the time. So sometimes I'd be making a movie, sometimes I'd be making a metal song, then I'd be making, you know, some other short film project, and then I'd be making some acoustic song, and I'd just be jumping around from project to project. And I kind of just hoped that someone would find me and somehow give me a career, basically paying me to just be creative and just make whatever I want. But unfortunately, that's not how creative careers work. Like, people kind of have to know what to expect from you. And I ended up realizing that, you know, I was constantly making like different projects, but at some point I realized like, hey, if I'm going to have any success in any of this, I can't chase it all at once. I need to focus on one thing at a time. And so I think I made my last short film back in 2016, and I started focusing more on a music-driven career. And again, even just focusing on a music career, that still took a little bit of refining to figure out what exactly in music I wanted to do. Now, the nice thing about music videos is they are kind of a way for me to scratch that filmmaker's itch. Kind of gives me a chance to, you know, still make something kind of related to filmmaking, movies, but it is to support a song that I'm doing. It's something that supports my music career. It's not like this totally separate thing that's unrelated. And I still have a dream to be a filmmaker someday. You know, it's on the to-do list. So I'd like to get established in a music career first and go from there. And once I can do that for a living, I'd like to branch out and do something in filmmaking as well. Let's see here. All right, cool. And Jack was saying the volume is good. Yep. All right. And Nuke was saying, that's my problem as well. A jack of all trades, master of none. You know, there's actually more to that expression. It's a jack of all trades, master of none. What's the rest of that expression? It's actually a positive thing. Most people kind of look at it as a negative, but there is a positive to that. A jack of, because it actually says it's better. Man, where is it at? I was hoping it would come. It's not bringing the full thing. Oh, no. But oftentimes better than a master of one. There we go. So a jack of all trades, a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. That's the full quote. And so the idea there is that a lot of times when you just focus on one thing, you might get really good at that, but then it's kind of like putting all your eggs in one basket. Whereas when you're a jack of all trades, you might not specialize in any particular thing, but a lot of it becomes very useful. You become very resourceful kind of on your own. So I wouldn't call it a problem at all. I would call it a strength. And let's see here. Jack was saying, I thought the video was good, but I wonder if it wouldn't have benefited from having other people in it. Well, Jack, if you want to come be in my video next time, you're certainly welcome to. And that's the thing is, we're going to talk about that, the practicality. First off, I don't have any friends, so it's not like I can hit up friends and be like, hey, you want to come be in my video? So that's one thing. Two, that is requiring more coordination with people. So again, that's requiring more resource into putting a video out. So there's a lot that goes into making it. Again, like I said, it's more than just grabbing a camera and filming it. There are deadlines that you have to meet as well. And so it's this balance between you're trying to do something effective that gets the job done. You know, pretty much the goal of a music video is to promote the song, to be something entertaining to watch, and ideally to capture the tone of the song. And arguing that's a little trickier to do, again, when you're kind of just having to come up with something quick on the fly. But that's what you're aiming for. And if it doesn't happen the first time, well, then you just try to do better on the next one. Nuke was saying, yeah, I know it's a positive, but I belong in the negative section. I don't think so, Nuke. I think you're on the positive side. Yep, Leo was backing me up. Yep, finishing that quote. All right. Yeah, Leo saying, first of all, I don't have any friends. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Nuke says, I have my cat. I wonder how many music videos I could put my cat in. There's probably a lot of people that would love a music video with a cat in it. So to be honest, it's kind of funny. I actually made a tutorial a while back, and it was my brother's cat that was in the background, and I just didn't pay any attention to it. And it's amazing how many people just comment on the cat in the back. It has nothing to do with the video, but they see a cat and they have to comment on it. But so yeah, so that's a little bit of kind of what goes into sort of my interest in doing this. I definitely like shooting videos, and we're going to talk some about that. You know, we're going to talk some about the quality that goes into different videos, because it's gonna, depending on project to project, like there's deadlines you have to meet, and the quality is going to change depending on how you do that. If you miss the deadline, you might be able to improve the quality, but you might not actually be getting much back in return for that. Sometimes more effort doesn't necessarily equal more outcome, and that's something that we're going to talk about. So we're going to get more into the actual process of it, but I'm going to go ahead and play another song for you guys first, and then we're going to talk about the pre-production phase. So there's 3 phases of producing anything. There's the pre-production phase, so that's the planning phase. How do you actually plan, come up with the idea that you can pull off? The production phase, the actual making of it, like what goes into it. And then the post-production phase, that's taking everything that you've gathered and piecing it together and creating the final product. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but firstly, I'm going to play another song for you guys, and then we shall do that. Let me get a little sip of water here. So here's your courtesy reminder. Stay hydrated. And I got a song for all of you. This one's called For You. If you know the words, feel free to sing along. One second. There was like a delay thing. Well, I know you've coped with this loneliness. You think you're okay, but you've been trapped. I'm out here pleading, but you can't hear me. Your silent screams are deafening. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. I thought I was different, but you made me like them. Begged you to hold on, but you still let go. And from the distance, I can see what's missing, but you never listen, so you'll never know. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. You're my closest friend and my deepest wound. My most painful scar, and I cherish you. Well, ignore my warning. Just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to Thank you. That one goes out for you. All right, for anyone just tuning in, don't be shy, say hello. And I'm sharing with you guys some of what goes into the process of making music videos, especially when you're having to do them by yourself, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. But you kind of have to balance out, you have to be reasonable with how much work you can actually do, or rather should do. So that's something we're going to get into. Let me catch up with the chat. Hey, we got Lady C in the chat. Hope you're doing well. Let's see here. What am I looking for? Trying to catch up. Let's see here. Let's see here. Fab is a bundle of joy. Your solo plastic cup bored me, so thank you. I am brutally honest. Sorry if I offend. No, you don't offend at all. You're good, Fab. You are allowed to have an opinion. Yep, that's right. See, this is great. Quincy has talent. Well, thank you. Lady C says, the chat is behaving strangely for me. Yeah, they're not as considerate as you, so not always. Let's see here. Fab says, would love not to have a backing track, but one can only do so much. Vocals are spot on. Well, thank you. Yep, again, like I said, I don't have a band, so backing track it is. Lady C says, at least now I can see that someone else is here. Yep, so, yep, we got a few people in the chat. Very gallant to take responsibility. Yep. Katie here. I can be gallant too and say that whatever it was me, I guess. But I think this is the first time you've popped in, Katie, but I hope you're doing well. Sounds great, Quincy. Thank you, Lady C. Appreciate that. Squealies. Well, thank you, Stan. Hey, we got Steven in the chat as well. Hey, Steven, hope you're doing well. Hope you are all doing well. All right, let's get a little caught up here. So we're talking about what kind of goes into making a music video. Now, the first thing to keep in mind, so we're talking about the pre-production phase now. So when you're planning to make a video, so we're coming up with a game plan for our video. And the thing to keep in mind, there's a lot of challenges when you're filming by yourself. Again, we sort of talked about this, but there's so much that you're doing by yourself. You got to set up the camera, and then you also have to be in front of the camera. So how do you do both? One of the easiest things I do, it's actually, we can kind of demonstrate right here. There's a camera right here. That's how you all are seeing me. When I frame the camera, the nice thing is I can actually see myself on it, when I look. But if that were a camera, normally I wouldn't be able to see the display. And even if I flipped it to where I could see the display, it's too small to tell. So I actually use something like this. I use a mic stand, and I will often adjust this to my height. This is a little shorter than me because I'm singing, but I will adjust it to my height and put it where I'm going to be positioned in the video. And then I'll set up my camera and I'll frame it to capture this the way I want it. And then usually I'll do a quick little test. I hit record, I go walk in front, kind of move around a little bit, go back and check the footage that I just recorded and confirm like, okay, good, I'm in frame. Because it's really frustrating when you think you're in frame and you do a whole take and then you go back to watch it and you realize, oh my gosh, my head was chopped off the whole time or something like that. Or I thought I was in frame, but then I was ducking down and I was too low in the frame. So that's that's probably the biggest challenge when you're shooting by yourself, is just not having someone to kind of handle the camera for you. You have to handle it yourself. You also have to dial in the settings yourself. The camera, it's not like you just point. You have to adjust your camera settings depending on the lighting conditions, or depending, where you're filming at, like whatever room you're in, if you're inside, outside, being able to manage the lighting. And lighting is such a huge thing. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So kind of like I said earlier, you just have to wear a lot of hats. There's a lot that you have to do on your own when you're filming. And so the point is, and this kind of leads to the next thing I was going to say, and sort of Fab was pointing this out, but there's a certain point where more effort does not equal more return. And what I'm saying is, there's some times where when you're working on something, if you put in a little more effort, then you kind of get rewarded for that. It's like, okay, great, I put in more effort and it was noticed, like I got better results because of that. And that kind of works to some degree, but eventually you reach a point where you put in more effort, but you only get like a little bit back for it. Or worse, you start putting in more effort and you're actually not really any better off. And when you're doing things by yourself, you kind of have to find that sweet spot where it's like, okay, here's the most amount of effort I can put in while getting the most amount of return. If I do anything more than this, I'm basically just wasting my time that I could better utilize doing something else. And I've shared this with some of you all, but right now my goal is to release songs more consistently. I'm going to be using this 8-week cycle, which means I have 8 weeks not just to produce the song, but to produce the videos for the song, and that's videos, plural, so it's more than just a music video. There's video content to be made to promote it as well. You have to make the album cover, you have to distribute the song. There's a lot that goes into it, and so you kind of have to, that's probably the biggest thing I've learned, is because I can be a bit of a perfectionist, and so, you know, there's definitely videos I've made that look better than my most recent video, Plastic Cup, but it also took exponentially longer to get those videos made, and they didn't necessarily perform better. In fact, Plastic Cup is actually doing quite well thanks to all of you, so I really appreciate that. Let's catch up here. Does Quincy learn everyone's real names? I try to. I always ask someone what their real name is, and I usually try to make a little note to remember it, and eventually I can kind of memorize it. Your real name isn't Fab. Actually, Fab's real name is Sean, but I think he prefers to be called by his username, if I recall. In fact, maybe I shouldn't have exposed that. I was trying to show off and demonstrate that I remember your real name, and I might be wrong. You know, Lady C saying his real name is 44. Yep. Let's see here. We got Eye of Odin in here. Hey, Eye of Odin. Hope you're doing well. We're talking about making music videos, especially having to make them by yourself. So if you have any questions about that, if you're just interested what goes into the process, let me know. Feel free to ask any questions. And Lady C says, yes, I've done that where my head is chopped off. Yeah, it's really a pain. Yeah, when you work so hard on a take and then you go back to watch it and it's like, can't even use it. You know, it's unusable. So there's a lot of patience in going, like making sure you've got it set up good enough before you do go through with it. Eye of Odin says, today is my mom's birthday. Well, happy birthday to your mom. I hope it's a good one for her. Steven says, I think their full name is Fab Daddy 44. It's low-key odd, but I'm not judging. No, I think that's a pretty unique name, if that is, you know, Fab's actual name. Let's see here. Nuke, I've tried chopping my head off a few times. Not on purpose. Wait, you've tried, but not on purpose? You know. No, I like the little play on words there. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, put that in a music video. Yeah, on it. Yep, that would make for an entertaining music video, you know, doing a head chopping effect. Lady C was saying, yeah, often my live performance videos do just as well as the videos I pre-record and put lots of effort into. Exactly. That's learning to work smarter, not harder. It's taking the stuff you're already doing and not going out of your way to do something like way harder that doesn't really necessarily do any better. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Fab. Fab says, love that song. Well, thank you so much. Katie says, we will all pretend we didn't hear that. Did I say something or did someone else say something? I don't know. I might be missing the context of that. Q, I got a new guitar. Awesome, Steven. You'll have to show that to me at some point. Have to let me know what kind of guitar you got. I put it in D standard just because why not? Now that's cool. Mine's in drop C, but I can tune it to D standard pretty easily. It's a Gretsch and it's a Bigsby Bridge. Awesome. Sounds very cool. I'll have to look that up. But oh, great. Did I say something? Did I say something weird? Because Leo's saying, please don't put Quincy on live leak. I don't know. What did I say something? I don't know. I'll have to watch it back. Anyway, I like C standard. C standard would be pretty low, but some people play in that, I'm certain. All right. Anyway, back to making music videos. So when you're having to do it yourself, again, I actually wanted to show this. So I wanted to show some of my older videos. We're not going to watch the whole videos, but I want to talk a little bit about like just kind of comparing some of the shots. So not long ago, I actually did a video for Love's Not Fair. Actually, let me go back to the first one. The first one I wanted to demonstrate was actually the song I just played, For You, the music video I made for that. So this, my buddy Sam helped with, and this is actually his girlfriend that we got in the video. So this was a video. I'm going to mute this so we can't hear it, but I'm going to play some of it. And you can see, because I actually had this opinion about music videos too. You know, when as a consumer, watching music videos, I noticed something. A lot of times whenever a band would release a music video, I would often watch the video, but I'd only watch it once. There was never any reason for me to rewatch the video because often it was just the band in some kind of empty warehouse or out in a field somewhere just performing the song. And there wasn't really much interest. Every now and then there would be some really good music videos. You know, just off the top of my head, some of my favorite music videos. I love, what's it called? It's the Evanescence one. So don't lie to me if you want, or don't cry to me. What is it? Call Me When You're Sober. I think that's a great music video. The Ghost of You by My Chemical Romance, that's another great music video. And so I like the music videos that have something either like very visually interesting or tell some kind of narrative. And so again, me being interested in filmmaking, that's kind of the motivation for this music video. If you're watching this as it plays, you can see there's a little bit of a narrative happening here. The song is about reaching out to someone who isn't really letting you connect with them and, you know, wanting to help this person, but they're not letting you through. And so this video reflects that. It's showing this character I'm playing and trying to reach through to this person in real life. You know, you can see knocking on the door here, trying to visit this friend of mine. And you'll see in a moment, like her hand reaches for the door, like she's thinking about it. And then she changes her mind. It's like she wants to let me in, but can't quite commit to it. And then there's sort of this parallel with this potted plant that I have. And so I'm sort of nurturing this plant, but it isn't growing. It's like no matter what I do, it isn't growing. And then on top of all that, there's this sort of dream sequence with this puzzle piece that I'm trying to put together. And you'll see later that like the puzzle piece is missing. So there's this whole narrative to it. But here's the problem. This video took weeks to shoot. Like it took forever because I had to coordinate you know, scheduling with my buddy Sam to work it out. We were shooting at multiple locations. We had to keep track of like all the different costumes we needed for each location. And even some of the shots, like I kind of like these shots that we did, you know, kind of some cool lighting here with like the endless black backdrop. And so we had a few like cool visual shots. And then, you know, we tried to do things like tried to keep a cohesive color palette. Like there's a lot of green in the thing, but even this wall, like looking at it now, the wall is a little bit bare. It would have been nice to do something to add a little more interest. So it's pretty good, and the best thing about it is the narrative is what kind of keeps it interesting, even if the image isn't like super high quality professional looking. But again, like I said, it was just so much work, and again, it already took a lot of work just to get the song produced, and it took even longer just to get the video produced. And so, you know, a few months have gone by, and I haven't put anything out on the internet. And that's kind of a problem, especially if you're trying to be a music artist. You got to put music out frequently. So, yeah, you know, I'm proud of this music video. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But realistically, especially, and this was with help, by the way. You know, this was with my buddy Sam. So now having to do things myself, I can't expect to make another video on this level. Like, I can't realistically do that in a short period of time. I'm going to need more time to pull something off like that. So that's why you have to make certain compromises and kind of recognize what you can realistically do by yourself. All right, let me catch up with the chat a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right. Oh, okay. Katie was like, no, Quincy, I was joking about you saying Fab's name. All right, well, thanks for straightening that out. Yep. All right, here. Steven was saying, I will be getting a Floyd Rose Bridge guitar sooner or later. Dimebag's guitar is in my sights. Awesome. Sounds like you are working up a pretty good guitar selection right there. So sounds good. Nuke was saying, I've got a Jackson with a Floyd Rose that I keep in C standard. That's pretty sweet. I like Jackson guitars, so very cool. We got some I love yous happening in the chat. Fell in love on the first reading. All right, let's see here. Okay, yeah. Let's see here. More guitar stuff. I'm more of a grungy style guitar. I love Jaguars, Jazzmasters, Les Pauls, but I also just love guitars. Yeah, there's a lot of different guitars for different styles and different reasons to appreciate them. So, very cool there. Fab saying, you're proud of the work. Sorry it didn't take off. Well, again, it was kind of back when I was first starting, and that's part of it too. Like, especially when you're first starting, because I made this video years ago, and the reason it actually has quite a few views on it, but that's over a culmination of 5 years. And I had it as my channel trailer for a long time. So I think it got a lot of views, but not necessarily a lot of engagement. And that's the thing, when you're first starting off, like, people don't know who you are. And even if you put out a video, like, there's not really any way for them to find it. So that's why consistency is so important. Consistency, and especially now with short form videos, that's like a way to make content where people are more likely to come across your music and then check out the full video that you put out. So, so it's definitely a bit of a process. But yeah, that's definitely part of it. It's, a video should be shot in 2 days. It should have a plot and purpose. It's usually only 3 to 45 minutes long. Yeah, I think that makes for a great video. I think having a plot, I think shoot 2 days is pretty reasonable. But again, having to balance that with a regular life and a regular routine, that doesn't always work out, especially when you're doing everything by yourself. Another video I put out. So this was one I did fairly recently, about a year ago. If you've seen the music video for Waking Up. And again, this one I did all by myself. And again, I tried to do that narrative thing. And already you can see, like, it's not bad, but it doesn't have like that cinematic look. I'm going to show you like a difference here. It's like, it's pretty good, but you know, it looks kind of intermediate, you know, not like super professional, but not like a beginner getting his hands on the camera. But this has a narrative. Again, it's my character is sort of kind of trapped in this room, and you know, he's looking at that doorway, implying that there's something about that door. And as you can see, he ends up, you know, getting up. It's tempting to go back to sleep. What are the lyrics again? But not for me, you know. So here he gets up and making his way over to the door. And when I get there, you can see that there's no way to open it. So I'm trying to unlock this door, and that's all the narrative is. You know, it's just my character trapped in this room, and of course the room is sort of symbolic. The song is about how we're sort of sleepwalking through life, how we're staying asleep, and we have these things that we dream about, but in order for those dreams to come true, you actually have to wake up and make them happen. I like this transition shot. Like, that's pretty cool right there. I'm pretty happy with how that came out, especially since I do all this in iMovie, by the way. iMovie is like such a not the best editor. So I think these shots are interesting, especially this next one here. Like, when I turn around, like, the lighting's more interesting, and this one here, this is like, okay, this is looking a little cooler. It's got a little more depth to it, a little more detail. Something about this is getting closer to that, like, pro quality look. It could use a little more texture, and I'm not necessarily an expert in knowing how to do that. Maybe using some haze or something like that. Some people do that a lot, so that the lighting isn't like super clean. It kind of gives it a little more texture, a little more interest, and a little more depth. But again, this video took me like a couple weeks to do by myself, not just shooting it, but just making the whole thing. Like, I had to plan the shoots. This was my brother's room. I had to clear everything out. I had to do tests to plan out the shot. When you're doing a narrative, you have to make sure that it is going to, you almost have to shoot like a test version first to make sure it's gonna fit in time with your song, and that at certain moments in the song, the narrative is gonna be in sync with that. And then you have to actually shoot it again, and you're having to plan out all your shots. You got to find the good shots, and there's so much work that goes into like doing this by yourself. And again, the end result, it's like I'm pleased with it, like I'm happy, but you know, this isn't the same thing as like a high quality, high budget recorded like music video that someone you know, that you're gonna see from like professional established artists. I do like this shot too with the door, you know, that's kind of cool. And then we switch to outside, and you know, finally waking up, finally getting out of the room and stuff. So so again, it's like, that was me trying again. And I remember while I was making that short film, I was so conflicted with my emotions, because on one hand, I was really enjoying the process. Like, it was so fun. It was so fun to be making a movie. Like, I love making movies. I love being creative. But at the same time, it was so time consuming, and I felt this pressure of like, man, I got to get this done. You know, like, I couldn't just enjoy it and just make it. It was constantly just trying to get it done as quickly as I could. And you have to kind of learn to settle for good enough. You really have no, you know, you have no luxury to, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was reading the chat, but you have to get it done in time. You don't have luxury just to be a perfectionist and take all the time you want to get it perfect. You have to you got to get it done and you got to get it out there. Let's see here. Looks like Steven might be trying to get some drums and basses as well, or trying to get some recording equipment. So awesome. Definitely excited about that. Definitely excited to hear what you come up with if you start recording some stuff. Yeah, editing can take over a month. Not for me. You know, that's not how you make a career out of it. You know, you should try storyboards before filming. I did storyboards for this one and the one before. The ones before had storyboarding, and you know what? That takes time. Time is something I don't have. So that's what I'm trying to point out to you, is that like when you're doing stuff by yourself, that bed looks comfy. I think it is a pretty comfy bed, if I do recall. Stan was saying, I thought that was awesome. You know me, man, words and music. But I'm visual too, so the video opens up to me your emotion behind it, if that makes sense. Well, that's supposed to be part of it. It's supposed to be like you're trying to find visuals that capture the tone of the video, of the song that you're trying to portray. And that's actually what I'm trying to focus on with videos now, but I'm just starting to get into that. Nuke was saying, my band and we made a video for one of our songs 15 to 20 years ago, winged it and filmed it all in 2 hours. Yep, you know, that's kind of what it takes. And just getting it shot and getting it done quick and getting it out there so people can see it, you know, and then moving on to the next thing. All right, let's see here. So Stan actually brought up an interesting point about the visual kind of matching the tone. And I think the best video I've done is my stripped down version for Love's Not Fair. So if you haven't seen this video, definitely check it out. This one's different because there's no narrative to this video. And this is kind of like what I'm aiming to do with songs from now on. And so we'll get to that, but I've sort of decided, rather than putting in all this effort to get multiple shots that come out kind of mediocre, like what if I put my time into just one location and just a few really good looking shots. And these shots, you can see, compared to the other ones, like look a lot more high quality, look a lot more professional. And it's like, man, I really like the way that looks. Like this is probably some of the work that I've personally done that I feel like, man, I'm getting closer to that like really professional look, and you know, away from that amateur kind of look. Again, this particular video, you know, I didn't have to spend all this time doing storyboards. I didn't have to change locations. Didn't take weeks to shoot. It took like one really long day to shoot it. You know, it was like one day. I knew I was going to shoot it in black and white, so I actually had to pick out a costume that looked good in black and white. That was probably the hardest part. But after that, getting the lighting figured out was pretty straightforward. Usually you start with just your wide shot, get your wide looking good, and then it's a lot easier to come in and get these close-ups. And once you've already got like the lighting set for your wide shot, it's a lot easier to get the close-ups and stuff. So, yeah, you know, I was just pretty pleased with how it came out, you know, visually. And again, nothing like super exciting in terms of like there's no narrative or story or anything, but tonally, like especially this song being kind of, especially the stripped down version of the song being very raw, I felt like the black and white and kind of the very contrasty shadows very much matched with the emotion of the song. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for these days, is trying to get more so the emotion of the song rather than coming up with a narrative that goes beat for beat, word for word with what the song's saying. Katie saying, may we see it? I don't know if you were talking about someone else's music video or the one I was talking about. Nuke, maybe talking to Nuke about his music video. Yeah, if you posted it, I'll have to check it out. If you posted it on YouTube somewhere, let me know. Nuke says, no, I never keep my different ventures separate. Yep, I do like the black and white. Yep. Jack, sorry, I had to take a phone call. What I said earlier, Quincy, I hope it didn't seem like criticism. I'm not sure. Maybe you said something earlier, but if it was, no, I'm sure it's fine, you know. Don't worry about it. Yep, it's real and raw. Yep, that kind of, yeah, that kind of matches the tone there. Sorry, trying to catch up. Justine was saying, still here, garbage day and had to clean out the fridge. Well, hopefully you got all that cleaned up. Appreciate you tuning in, Justine. I think I'm going to dive into another song in a moment here. Okay, sorry. Yep, a little distracted by the chat there. So yeah, so again, this video I think looks better than the past two I did, and there's no narrative to it. It was a bit easier to shoot, and it was just me experimenting with the lighting. But anytime you experiment, you kind of have to realize, like, you kind of have to, what's the word? You have to commit to what you're doing, you know? Like, you can't try something, and if it's not really working, you can't just say, oh, I need to go back to the drawing board and come up with a different idea. It's like, no, I guess, well, we're just going to have to roll with this one. So you can even argue, like I would even say, you know, Plastic Cup, I'm pleased with the video. I like the way it came out, but, you know, the images aren't quite as striking as some of the images that you're seeing from this video here. And I'll agree with that. A big part of that is because of the lighting. You can see lighting is such a huge factor in creating interest and depth in your image. But at this point, the due date was coming up to release the song. I needed to shoot a video, and the only thing I could think of was to, you know, use a plastic cup as a prop to sort of instigate, you know, different shots like this POV shot from the plastic cup, and just get different, you know, expressing my frustration in the song, you know, by tossing the cup and kind of, you know, the way my character interacts with the cup in the song. But there is kind of a nice, you know, I did shoot it outside, so it's really hard to get like super cinematic images when you're just shooting out in sunlight. So that makes it kind of challenging. But there's certain things I like about this. Like, I think it shows a bit of my personality. I'm a very active person, and so even like just climbing on this stuff here, it's like, hey, that's what I like to do. I'm not someone who likes to sit still. I like to kind of move around and stuff. And I tried to pick the shots that I felt like kind of just amplified my personality a little bit. And you try to get these impact shots too. You know, that's something you try to plan for, is getting these B-roll shots. So it's like, hey, you know, we can, you know, get the shot of kicking the cup. I filled the cup with water and got this slow-mo shot, pouring it out. So just anything like that. And it's like, hey, you know, it's something to work with, and you just cut it to the beat of the music, and that's pretty much it. And all I can say is, actually, compared to these other music videos, Plastic Cup is probably performing the best, which kind of makes my point, is like, you know, you can put all this effort into making like the greatest video ever, but it doesn't matter if no one sees it. And it actually doesn't matter if it takes you months to produce a great video. You're not going to gain enough traction. That's not frequent enough to gain traction. Whereas you could put a video out like this, and you know what? It's done, and I'm already on moving to the next one. I actually shot my next music video already. I shot it this week, and it's coming out Monday. I think you'll like that one. That one's actually got some really cool lighting. So part of what's true is, and hey, Fab, that's okay. If it didn't hold your attention, no worries. But what I'm saying is, the important principle is, like, you can't let perfection keep you from taking action. So, you know, the stripped down version I did for Love's Not Fair came out great, but I'm probably not going to be able to produce that level of quality consistently every single time. And you know what? That's just part of the game. You know, I tried this time, you get to a certain level and it's like, okay, that's the best I could do. Next time, let's just try to do better. That's the lesson there. It's better to try to do better on the next project rather than getting so fixated on the current one that you're working on. And that's been one of the hardest lessons for me to learn, is because I've been such a perfectionist, and I've put in like a lot of work into videos in the past that just don't really perform that well. And then I've done the opposite. I've put in like absolutely no effort in a video. And really what I'm kind of learning is that any project you work on, you have to do the best you can with the time and resources that you have. And then whatever it is, that's what it is. You put it out there, and then the next one, you move on to the next project, and you just try to do better there. And I think that applies to a lot of different areas of life. Like, it's not just for, it's not just for, what's the word I'm looking for? For art, you know, it's not just for filmmaking or for music or anything like that. I think just anything in life, anything that you're working towards, you just got to do the best you can with what you have, and then just be consistent in doing it and try to do better and better each time. If you're always striving for perfection, it has this way of immobilizing you. In other words, like crippling you and keeping you from moving. You know, progress is better than perfection. You know, progress is better than perfection. So that's what you want to aim for. That was a tough lesson for me to learn, and definitely one that hopefully you all can learn, because it definitely benefits you a lot when you learn it. The sooner you learn it, the better. Let's see here, catching up. I think I'm going to go into another song here. Fab, I was going to recommend for you, saying Quincy is young, I want your youth. I'm in my 30s, and there are people in their 30s who don't move quite as well as I do, and so the best I can recommend is look up the knees over toes guy. I'll even type it in the chat. The knees over toes guy. Great YouTube channel, and talks all about mobility and building strength and flexibility at the same time. So if you want to improve your mobility and have that kind of youthful agility and energy and stuff, definitely check out his videos. I think you can benefit from that. Nuke was saying, you've got to think about your 3 areas of light. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you've got a key light, a backlight, and a fill light. And you don't necessarily need all 3, but you definitely have to think about, the lighting and how you aim it. Katie's saying, I hope the cup didn't get too hurt in the making of the video. I think I actually still have the cup. I was hoping if I could give out the cups because you'll see I have a video coming later. It's a short video, but I actually wrote the lyrics on some of the cups, and the lyrics are going to display. So you'll see that as well. Stan was saying, it may just be me, but when I hear a song most of the times, it's the music that catches me. And yeah, that's kind of the thing too, is like a video is, most people just listen to the song anyway, Like most people don't watch the music video for the music video. They usually check it out for the song. So, that's kind of a good point too. And I would agree with that. There's plenty of bands, like I'll check out the music video, but usually I leave with how I feel about the song. Let's see here. All right, cool. Well, let me go ahead and play another song for you guys, and then we're going to talk about kind of what goes into like the actual camera shots, that kind of thing, and like the actual production side of things, like what goes into when you're shooting it and actually making it. So I got another song for you, and I think this one is actually a song from one of my other music videos. Let me see what I got here. Yeah, I mentioned the music video for my song Waking Up, so I'm going to go ahead and play that song for all of you. Let me get my backing track pulled up. All right. Here's your courtesy reminder to stay hydrated. Again, if you have any questions or curiosities about what goes into making music videos or just, what about camera gear and that kind of thing, lighting, that kind of stuff? Any questions about that or thoughts about that? Feel free to leave a question. I'll do my best to answer it. All right. Hope you like this one. This one's called Waking Up. It's too much effort to pull away the covers that hold me down and won't let go. It smothers me, the weight of this anxiety pressing me into my pillow. A blissful sleep, chasing lies and counting sheep. It sure is easy, but not for me. So here I am, with all I have. I'm waking up, I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down, I can't stop now. I'm waking up, so I can start to dream. I toss and turn, and tick by tock the hours burn, pleading for this night to end. Part of me begging to go back to sleep. It sure is easy, waking up. I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down. I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. You're not worthless. You have purpose. Wake up, see it. Time to dream. I'm waking up. I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down. I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. So here I am with all I have. I'm waking up. I'm facing what's in front of me. I won't back down. I can't stop now. I'm waking up so I can start to dream. Thank you. Again, that one's called Waking Up. And that song has been released, and we're talking about music videos, and that one's got a music video for it. So if you haven't seen the music video, definitely check it out. For anyone just tuning in, don't be shy, say hello. And we're going to catch up with the chat here in just a moment and then continue. I'm just sharing a little bit about what goes into the process of making music videos, especially when you got to make them by yourself. But making music videos, it's a lot of fun. It can be a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of fun too. And so I'm just kind of wanting to share some of the things that I've learned from the process, and hopefully, if you're interested in making your own videos, hopefully you can apply it to yourself, or maybe you're just kind of curious what goes into it, and so you can share that. Also, let me just take a moment to just say, guys, I appreciate you tuning into the stream. I appreciate those of you who share my music and watching my videos and that stuff. You guys really mean a lot to me. And I just want to remind you, if you'd like to show support, if you'd like to help me so that I can keep making music for you, keep bringing videos, keep doing these live streams, I am going to post a link here. And there's several different ways to show some support there. And so I just want that link to be available. Again, there's way you can check out my music there. You can check out my latest music video from that link. You can, find my music on Spotify or Bandcamp, wherever you like to listen to. And there's some ways to show some support, whether you'd like to do that through the virtual tip jar or getting yourself a piece of merch or something like that. So, all right, let's catch up with the chat, and then we'll get back into some of the breakdown. Nuke's got questions, so. Justine seems like a quality person, I think. I think so, too. Oh, awesome. Yeah, Justine says, oh, Quincy, I got my hoodie. I absolutely love it. Wore it to work on Tuesday. Thank you, Justine. I'm so glad to hear you got the hoodie. Yeah, speaking of merch, Justine, got a hoodie from me. So, any of you, if you want to get a hoodie yourself, both Stan and Justine have got hoodies. So you can find that in my merch store. Again, that's in the support link. But Nuke, you're absolutely right. Justine is indeed a quality person, a good person indeed. I appreciate your support, Justine. Sorry, going back up. Trying to catch up. Fab says, great song. Thank you. Leo saying, this is probably my fave of your songs to sing along to. Well, I'm glad you're singing along, Leo. I appreciate that. Stan was saying, then the lyrics come into play. Sometimes the lyrics catch me first, and after all that, I like to see the video. Yeah, lyrics, well, that's one thing that's very interesting is people listen to music differently. It actually took me a while to realize that, you know, like you have your opinion of music, and you kind of almost automatically assume that everyone else listens to music the same way you do. And I've come to realize that that's not the case at all. I remember my brother making a comment about a song. I can't remember what the song was, but he was like, you know, I liked this song when I first heard it, but when I started listening to the lyrics, I thought it was kind of dumb. And I remember me, when I heard that, I was thinking, well, who cares if the lyrics are dumb? Like, why do the lyrics even matter? The only thing that matters is if it sounds cool, right? Right? You know, that's what I thought. Because for me, I can tell you right now what I like about a song. My two favorite things are chord movements and melody. I like really catchy melodies, and I like really unique chord movements. And so for me, a big turnoff with songs, if I hear a very familiar chord movement that I've heard like hundreds of times before, I'm probably not going to be that interested in the song. Like, I might be able to objectively say like, oh, hey, that's a really good song. But for me personally, I'm not really going to like it. And same thing with melodies. You know, if melodies just don't really stick with me, then I'm not going to, you know, I'm probably not going to enjoy it as much. But there's different styles of music. What's kind of interesting, like, that's sort of the thing, like if you look at a genre like hip hop, that's actually a genre where they don't really focus on chord movements and they don't really focus on melody, because rapping, it's usually, you know, they're speaking. They're not singing, they're speaking. So there's not really a melody. It's more about the beat, the rhythm, and the cleverness of the words. You know, that's what is appreciated in that style of music. Now, there are hip hop songs that I do like, and typically it's the ones that do have a unique chord progression along with the beat, and maybe they have some kind of melody in there. You know, there's usually something about it that sticks out to me. But that's just an example of how people can appreciate music for different reasons. Some people just like a certain style of music, and it really doesn't matter what chords are used, as long as it's as long as it's heavy and energetic. You know, that's what they like about it. Or as long as it's soft and pretty, that's what they enjoy about it. Some people, they really care about the lyrics. You know, doesn't actually matter what style of the music it is. If the lyrics are really good and kind of connect with them, that's what they appreciate about it. So. Let's see here. Jack was saying, a powerful song usually doesn't need a music video to catch my attention. The video is generally interesting as a comparison with what I envision when I hear the song. That is kind of an interesting point to bring up, because, you know, I've heard songs before and then sometimes the video doesn't always do it justice. Now, I can say that's my opinion as a consumer. Now, as a creator, the reality is that music videos always perform better than just putting the song out, you know, because I've done that before. I've just released songs, and music videos always get more attention than just putting the song out and just having like a picture of the album cover. So really, it's, you know, from an artist perspective, it's important to do all of them. Put out just an album cover of the video, put out a lyric video, put out a music video, you know, put out a live performance video, you know, all that stuff. You kind of got to do all of it. But I definitely get that. You know, sometimes the video is like just icing on the cake, and then sometimes it's like, not really what I pictured when I heard the song. You know, so. Thanks for the fire, Stan. Thanks for the applause, Fab. Appreciate that. The quality is great. It's thick and soft, not stiff like some sweatshirts. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad that the hoodie that you got, that it's good quality. All right, let's see here. Have you ever given up the director's seat? I work alone, so I've never had a reason to. I've never had to. I will say, when I made movies with my friends, no one assigned anyone director, and I kind of naturally fell into that position, because a lot of times I was the one who had an idea with where the story would go and that kind of thing. And I like being creative. I like making stuff, so I definitely enjoy doing that kind of work. Now, there was a time my friend was working on a movie, and I starred in it. So usually if I'm a part of somebody else's project, then yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm going to let them direct it the way they see it and stuff. But if it's my art, you know, I'm going to do it the way I envision it. Let's see here. Thanks, Quincy. Yep, my pleasure, Justine. Stan got a little behind, but caught up on the stream now. That's right. Yeah, that'd be nice. Yep. Stan and Justine sitting in a tree wearing their hoodies and singing Plastic Cup. Yep. Nuke was saying, with most songs these days, you have to separate the art from the artist. There's some truth to that. Some of these artists these days are getting caught up doing questionable stuff. That's definitely part of it, you know, and that's always... I definitely experience that with movies a lot. Well, I guess any kind of art you can experience it with, but sometimes there's a piece of art that you really enjoy, and then you kind of look into the person who made it, and maybe there's certain things that you don't agree with, or that don't just really gel well with you, and that's just kind of the way it goes, and it just kind of depends on it. So you'll have to let's see here. If it hits me, I like it all. Yeah, that's what Stan. Yep. Yeah. Again, there's good songs in any genre of music, but I think what typically draws people in, I guess what hits people is something different. You know, it's not always the same thing for everyone. Nuke says, I don't know. I put out ideas that aren't even songs, and people watch them. Not sure why. I don't know if you've compared like which ones do better than others, and I guess you're doing, just making interesting stuff. So that people are curious to check out. Let me catch up. All right, catching up. Hey, Silas is in the chat. Hey, Silas, hope you're doing well. Jack was saying, well, it's time for me to head out, but Quincy and chat, you are all great people, and I wish you a wonderful Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Jack, thanks for hanging out. Again, I wish the same for you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Again, there's not going to be a stream next week and probably not the following. This is the last stream of this year, and then hopefully we'll be back soon in 2025. But always appreciate you, brother. Yeah, you enjoy some time off, get some rest, and hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All right, so real quick, going into like what it looks like when you're actually making a movie, one thing that's really important is having a shot list. So rather than just getting out there and being like, okay, I got my camera, what do I do? You want to have an idea like for a location where you're going to shoot at, and you want to have sort of an idea, like a shot list. And what's going to happen is come up with as many shots as you can, like at first. But once you start shooting, then your creative juices kind of get flowing, and you might come up with other shots on the shoot. For this actual video, for Plastic Cup, there's actually a lot of shots that I got that I ended up not using for the actual video. Like, I think one of the first shots I got, there's this, I can't even show it to you, but there's a wall in my front yard, and I got some footage of me sitting on it, but just the way the light was hitting me, it didn't look good. I couldn't get like a very good framing with it. This is kind of similar. You can see I'm sitting on the steps here. It was kind of a similar thing, but it was on a wall that I've got in the yard. And I got the footage, but as I went on, I got shots that were better and ultimately didn't need those shots. So that kind of happens, but you got to start somewhere, So rather than like being too critical of like the first shot, like, oh, is this good enough? It's like, just start shooting. And as you get more creative, you'll come up with other ideas of things to do. And so usually it's good to get like a wide shot of, some of the area and stuff. And I try to get shots for specific things. So again, like if we look in the intro, I knew I wanted to do a POV shot with the cup. If you think about it, it's kind of a simple shot. It's just the camera on the sidewalk, and it's just me laying in front of the camera singing to it. But then you just add that little cup, and there you go. Makes it just a little more interesting, and just kind of a fun little nod to, oh, hey, Plastic Cup, I get it. And then same thing with me walking around with the cup, sort of another POV shot. And this was I didn't really know what to expect from this. I kind of just had to take a chance, like, all right, I'm just going to walk around, and not all of the footage I got from this angle was usable. Some of it, like the lighting wasn't very good, or I wasn't framed very well in the cup. And so you kind of just got to try stuff and then just see what you can work with later. But you kind of get a bunch of stuff to work with, and then you kind of fish through it later. Even random wide shot of a swing set, but like why, I wanted something, I knew I wanted to do a jump cut. That's an effect where, again, if you watch this, where you start in one place and then this is the same shot, like I never stopped the camera, but you cut it to another part of the same shot where you're in a different location. So it's called a jump cut because your subject is jumping all around the frame and the camera staying stationary. So that's kind of a fun shot. And you kind of have to find stuff like that because, again, when you're shooting by yourself, probably one of the biggest challenges is it's really hard to add energy without movement. And again, when you're filming by yourself, you don't have somebody to move the camera. You can't do like these pans or these sweeps or these zoom ins, and you know, you can't. You don't have someone to hold the camera and kind of add those extra dynamic movements. You're shooting on a tripod. And so to sort of create as much movement as you can, jump cuts are a good way to do that. Again, trying to cut pretty quickly, like on beat with the music. Sometimes there's certain moments in the song where you can kind of like sync up with it. I think somewhere, where was it? I think like during the breakdown section. And I know it's more than just debris, you know, like cutting with the words there and stuff kind of implies like a little more kinetic energy going on, even though all these shots are done on a tripod. Ken burns are another really helpful thing. Again, let me go to the slow-mo shot to sort of demonstrate that. Where was that at? Take a step back. Here we go. So a Ken burn is when you crop the image, but the image is cropping while you're watching it. So it might start wide and then it kind of zooms in a little bit. It's like a digital zoom in. So you can see it happening there. I'm zooming out. And there, the camera's gradually zooming out. It's kind of hard to tell, but like if you watch my arm, watch how the edge of the frame gets further away from my arm because it's sort of, it's expanding. The image is expanding. So I started cropped in, and then during the length of the shot, the Ken burn starts from the crop and then expands out to the full frame. And then you can do the reverse as well. You can start full frame and then you can zoom in to a particular part of the frame. Now, it's not the same thing as actually zooming in with the camera, but it is kind of a nice subtle way to add like just a little more movement. And then probably the last thing is just trying to fill up the frame as best as you can. Again, like, you know, the closer you are to the camera, again, even that shot there, like that close-up of my foot hitting the cup, the closer you are to the camera, the bigger the movement is, the more exaggerated the movement is. So if you're trying to add more energy to a shot, trying to get a lot of close-ups with some movement in there are kind of ways that bring more energy. Again, if you did like that same shot, but it was a wide shot where you could see like all of me and just kicking the cup, it wouldn't be nearly quite as interesting or as energetic as a zoom in of that shot. So yeah, so you kind of have to plan out the shots, and as you're filming it, you kind of come up with plans like, oh, it'd be cool if I did this, and so you set up specifically for that shot. So if you know like, oh, I'm going to get a slow-mo shot, then you want to adjust your camera settings specifically for that shot and kind of set up for it. If you know you're going to do a jump cut, you want to set up for it and get all the different things. So again, like back to that swing set shot, I knew I was going to do a jump cut there, so I just kind of moved around and just tried to kind of space myself out as much as I could so that as you cut it, it would be interesting. You know, if I was only moving a little bit, it wouldn't be much of a jump cut. It wouldn't be much of an effect. It would just be kind of like, why did he cut there? You know? So, hey, we got Daniel in the chat. Hey, Daniel, hope you're doing well. Forgot today is Thursday. Yep. Hey, that happens to me sometimes too. Sometimes I wake up and the first thing I think in the morning is, what day is it? So that happens. Good to see you, Daniel. I hope you've had a good December. This is going to be the last stream of 2024. So appreciate you tuning in, and then we'll pick back up in January. But I'm sharing what goes into the process of making music videos, especially when you're having to make them by yourself. But you'll have to let me know if you have any questions, and you'll have to let me know if you have any special plans for Christmas and New Year's coming up. I am going to play another song in a little bit here. So let's see here. Stan was saying, I've listened to your songs. I got my own reasons for what they bring out in me. Then the video shows me why you created in the first place, and I get a different perspective of a similar feeling. That's kind of a cool thing, too. And yeah, that's sort of true. You can kind of hear a song and sort of have like what you take away from it, and then you can see what the artist kind of meant by it. And I think both perspectives are valid. A lot of times artists do that intentionally. A lot of times artists will have a motivation behind why they created what they made, but then, you know, they sort of leave it open to interpretation. And I think that's a fair thing to do. I think that's kind of the cool thing about art. I think it's often said that, you know, art is yours until you put it out into the world. Like you make it what you want it to be, and you try your best to translate what it is. But once you put it out, you know, people are going to kind of take away their own perspective from how they perceive it. And so, yeah, Justine saying, Stan, I agree with you. Very similar process in my head. And yeah, I think that's the case. Let's see here. Silas was saying, love music videos. I've been thinking of making some music videos with my band and how we can. Well, I hope you find, let me know if you have any questions, and hope I can give you a few tips along the way. Again, you can kind of go back. I talked about a few things already, but if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to give you some advice on what you guys can do for making music videos. It's fun to do, so you should definitely set out to do it. Let's see here. Some effects you can add in editing. So there's some effects, but even if you're adding it in editing, you still have to plan for that. Like if you know you're going to edit for it. So for example, like the jump cut, if I know I want to do a jump cut, I need to make sure I get footage of me moving all over the frame, because if I don't move a lot, it's that shot is not going to work well for a jump cut. Again, slow motion, it's a little tricky. I don't want to get confusing here, but you have to film it at a different frame rate in order for it to play back nice and smooth, like to get that nice smooth slow motion. So the video actually plays at 24 frames per second. So that means every second the video is showing you 24 images. That's kind of the standard image for like movies and stuff. But for slow motion, you actually want to shoot the footage at 60 frames per second. So that's a lot more pictures. That's a lot more information that you're getting in that 1 second time frame. And then you stretch it out. You take those 60 frames, but you play it back at 24 frames. And so the motion comes out slower, and it comes out more detailed. It comes out smoother. So you get that nice silky slow motion. I know that's a very fast way of explaining it. So some of you might be like, did not understand that at all. But the point is, if you know you're going to do a certain effect, you can't always just shoot something and be like, all right, I'll figure out what to do with it later. Sometimes you have to plan specifically for what shots you're doing. And then, yes, sometimes you can get into the editing stage and you get to the editing stage and you come up with ideas while you're there. You can definitely express some artistic vision through that as well. Stan was saying, that hoodie is awesome. The quality is not a problem for me. I just don't want to mess it up. Maybe I'll get another one. So one for every day, a nice one. Yeah. So one to keep nice and one to be active in. Let's see here. Daniel was saying, I just upgraded to Vegas Pro 22 video editing software I use. So much you can do with the software. I just never brought in my expansion when using it. Yeah, and sometimes, sometimes there's a lot you can do with just the simple stuff. Again, I could probably, at some point, I might have to update my computer. And when I do, I'll have a later software and might be able to update my video editing software as well, because the last several videos I've done for the past few years have all been done in iMovie. And so I pretty much, try to get as creative as I can using the limitations of iMovie. But hey, they say limitation is kind of what births creativity. It's when you have too many options available to you, it could be overwhelming and you end up doing nothing or coming up with nothing new or creative. But when you're very limited with your resources, then that sort of forces you to think outside of the box and trying to come up with something. Yeah, so slow should be more frames than 60 per second. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you shoot it at 60 frames, and then when you play it back at 24 frames, that's what creates slow motion. If you just shoot it at 24 frames and then you add slow motion, the way it creates slow motion is by actually creating copies of the frames. So instead of getting this nice smooth slow motion, you get more of like a really blocky, like kind of jagged, like staggered slow motion. It doesn't look smooth. In order for it to look smooth, you have to shoot at a higher frame rate and then play it back at the normal frame rate, 24 frames per second. Are you able to do these with a phone? Absolutely. Again, there's certain I use a DSLR. I use a camera called the Rebel T3i. And what's nice about that camera is that you can change the lens. So lens, depending on what lens you're using for your camera, it makes a huge difference in the perspective you're getting. Again, there's wide lenses that let a lot into the frame, and then there's narrow lenses that kind of compress the image, and that's the lens that's used. Let me give you an example of a shot. So like that slow-mo shot, I used my... All right, so here we go. So here's like, there's a wide lens, just a wide lens. You can see a lot in the frame. But I don't use that same lens for a shot like, here we go, like this slow-mo shot. Where's it at? if I can find it. All right, so a wide lens, again, it kind of stretches the image so you can see more. But then a shot like this, the close-up lens, you can see I'm more in focus, the water's in focus, but the background is blurry. If I were to use a wide lens, it wouldn't look like this. A wide lens, you could have the tripod set in the same place, but just from changing the lens, it'll change the perspective of the image. So if I were to take the same shot, but I changed the lens to a wide lens, it would show more of the image. It wouldn't be so zoomed in like this. It would show more of the image, and it wouldn't have that blurry background. So depending on what kind of lens you use, it's going to affect. Now, with that said, can you get images like this on, can you get good results with a phone? Absolutely. Some of the cameras and phones are really great, and there's a lot of videos out there. Some phones even have a few different lenses built into them, so you can get a similar effect with different lenses depending on what kind of phone you're doing. There are definitely videos out there for like how to shoot videos with your phone, how to filmmaking, how to make movies with your phone or something like that. Looking that up, and there's special gear you can get for special tripod to set your phone on. There's probably recommended equipment that you would add to your phone to work better with it. But the biggest thing, like different lenses are nice, different cameras are nice, but the biggest thing, and again, I kind of demonstrated this with this video here, what has the biggest effect is your location and your lighting. Like lighting is the biggest thing. And so an example of this, like the reason these images look really high quality is because of the lighting I'm using. But not just, lighting doesn't mean how much light you have, it's how you use the light to shape your scene. So in this case, I'm using the lighting, kind of this spotlight effect. It's shining down on me, but the background, the rest of, this was shot at my church sanctuary, the rest of the sanctuary is dark. So you kind of get this like endless background of just darkness. And then the light on me is kind of harsh, and so it creates these nice, sharp shadows. Another thing that probably is worth recommending that people don't think of enough, but costume is important too, like what you're wearing. And I remember when I shot this video, I actually had to try out different clothes in front of the camera because I knew I was going to be shooting in black and white. And I had to pick an outfit that looked good in black and white, So don't just put on like what you're wearing for the day and shoot your video. Try to find something that's going to look good with your video. You might have to think about like the color of what you're wearing and try to come up with sort of a cohesive color palette for what you're filming. So light is a huge factor. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest disadvantages I had of this video was because I was just shooting outside in daylight. It's really hard to get like super high quality images. But again, I was kind of run and gun meaning like you just got to go, you're on a due date. You got to get it done. And I thought I could make a more interesting video outside than I could like in my bedroom. And didn't really have time to stress about lighting. And also, I kind of had some ideas of what I was going to do with the plastic cup already, so I thought outside was going to be a better setting anyway. Outside can be a little tricky when it comes to lighting. So if you're ever in a space where you can control the lighting, it's definitely a lot easier to get like really nice looking images that way. Now, obviously, you can still get good images outside, but it does require maybe a bit more planning. Like it's a little hard to do it spontaneously. But yeah, you could use a camera from your phone, a phone camera, and if you've got good lighting and you've got good costume and like a cool looking location, you can absolutely make like really good looking videos just with your phone camera. So, all right, catching up here. Nuke says, I'm trying DaVinci Resolve 19. I've heard DaVinci, wouldn't recommend it. Interesting. I've heard it was good. But sometimes different softwares, they depend on what you're using them for. So maybe as a basic editor, maybe it's not that good. I've always thought DaVinci Resolve was meant more for like I think you can do editing in it, like cutting the footage, but I always thought it was more of like a color grading software or something like that. I could be wrong about that. Fab says, Quincy, I hope you know I appreciate your art, but your videos need something. What it is, you figure it out. Just my own opinion. Yep, you can voice that, but all I'm going to say is I'm just going to keep making videos, man, and I'm just going to try to do better on the next one. That's all I can say, because that's all I can do. All I can do is make something and do better on the next one. So if it's missing something, well, that's just too bad. Hopefully it's there on the next one. Nuke says, I use a camera called a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. So I think that is a phone camera, but might be a pretty good one. Daniel saying, I usually use my Galaxy 24 Ultra as well for YouTube videos. Pretty good camera. Now for my astrophotography, that's another story. Yeah, definitely a different camera for that kind of thing. There are some pretty crazy software editors out there. And then on my camera, on my phone, I have a cinematic mode. I'd say just look into that. That could be really cool. It could be very useful. Sometimes phones do have sort of these assist effects or modes that you can add that kind of help you get a better thing. And yeah, Stan's right. Location, location, location. Location is pretty big. Like if you can find like a really interesting looking location, or if you can use your lighting to make the location look more interesting, it definitely helps. So yeah, so here you go. Ever watched the movie Sing Street? No, I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that one. All right, let's see here. And then, yeah, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but like when you're filming by yourself, so Fab, well, Silas, I guess if you're working with your band, then you have the advantage of having people that can actually set up the camera and make sure you can see the person that you're filming. But when you're filming by yourself, it's really helpful to have something like this, a mic stand, and you can adjust the height to be, as tall as you, or if you're sitting down, you can adjust it to your height and position it where you're going to be in the shot, and then go over to the camera and kind of get that set up, and then you can use this to get the camera in focus as well. You definitely want to make sure that you are in focus, or whatever you're filming, you want to make sure it's in focus as you do that. So that comes in handy too. And and then the last thing, if we're talking music videos, it's obviously important to sync up with the song. Like that's the most important thing. You need to make sure, like if you're going to be singing or playing the song, you need to make sure that your lips are in sync with the song as it's playing. So really, that's one thing that might be a little tricky for you, Silas. So if you're using your phone as a camera, you need something else to play the song. Because what I do is I use my camera and I use my phone to play the song. I have the song on here, and I just put it on loop, so it just loops that same song over and over again because I'm going to keep playing it over and over again. And yeah, when you're ready to shoot, you just hit record on your camera. You get in position. You try to get the phone as close as you can so you can hear it. Turn the volume up, and then you just hit play on the song, and when it starts, you just sing along with it. And what's kind of funny is like some of the song, it's actually really funny. It'd be kind of embarrassing if if I were to show like the raw footage of me singing the song. This Plastic Cup is already a really intense song to sing, so like I can't do take after take after take hitting those high notes. So a lot of times I end up singing the harmony, like I sing a lower part. And sometimes the nice thing is like people aren't actually hearing your performance. So sometimes like you're bombing it, like you're not even singing that good, but it doesn't matter because that audio is going to be turned down in the music video and it's just going to be synced up afterwards. So when you get into the editing phase, you sync up the song with the video, and since you recorded them at the same time, you get your lips matching with the song, and it looks like you're singing along with it. Or if you're playing an instrument, it looks like you're playing along with it. So yeah, that's kind of how you do that process. And then probably the last thing, this is kind of tricky too, especially when you're shooting everything yourself. Like you're so focused on like getting the camera set up and trying to get the angle, make it look as best as you can, and then you run into the problem of now once you're in front of the camera, now you still have to perform. Like you still have to emote. You can't just sing. And sometimes I've kind of learned like sometimes you have to express more than you think. Like you might not be expressing enough, and it's like, oh, I need to kind of crank that up a little bit. Try to be a bit more expressive, try to move a little more. Sometimes it helps to over pronunciate the words. So rather than singing like, I once believed I could be anything, where your lips are barely moving, really trying to over enunciate, I once believed I could be anything. That might be a bit of an exaggeration, but the point is like you kind of want to amplify your performance a little bit. You almost want to feel like you're doing too much. And if you watch it back and you realize, that's a bit much, you can dial it back. And that's the nice thing about editing too, is because you kind of go through and you just try to find the best parts. There's some parts where the performance isn't that great, like the way you're presenting yourself. It's like maybe there's something awkward. Again, for me, my hair was getting in my face a lot, so sometimes there were some awkward shots where I just didn't like the way my hair looked. Sometimes there were moments where like, oh, hey, I really like the way that works. So There we go. And that's right, Fab. Perfection is overrated. Exactly. So you do the best you can with what you got. So progress over perfection. That's the way to go. I think it's good to strive for perfection, but don't let it keep you from actually making progress. Let's see here. Nuke was saying, one of my biggest gripes about DaVinci Resolve, it doesn't like it if you edit audio in your DAW and then bring it back. Interesting. It removes seconds from the audio even when it's the same bitrate. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't know if you can look into that situation, if there's a way to get around that. But that does sound like that would be frustrating if it was like changing your audio. I know sometimes projects have a certain frame rate set to them. And so I don't know if that would have something to affect it, where you're shooting at a certain frame rate and then you bring in the audio and it's, you know, it's not matching with that particular frame rate or something. Not, you know, there's not a frame rate for audio, but sometimes, I don't know. I wish I could provide a solution there. I'd say you just have to kind of research what the issue is with that. But Fab was saying, I suggest singing like an old karate film from the 70s, purposely missing the sync. And it's like, hey, you know, that's not a bad suggestion. Just totally doing that, totally getting off sync. That actually would be a fun theme for a music video, you know. It could totally, you could be in your karate outfit, you know, have your gi on and have the headband tied around and practicing karate moves. And then when you go to sing, it's just like totally out of sync and you're just practicing karate moves while you sing the song. Probably not a video I would make, but that's a fun idea for a video, you know. Let's see here. Nuke says, also, it adds seconds to the video. Even if you're rendering a 10-minute video, it'll render it. Yeah, you know, I've kind of experienced that too with some things where you choose where you want it to end at, and then it'll add like a little bit left to it. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Now, I don't know, one like little workaround, I don't know if you have a second program, maybe it's not as good of an editor, but maybe you could take your footage into that and just, you know, nip off that little bit of extra footage that, you know, a little bit of length that added on when it wasn't supposed to be there. So I'm not sure. Sometimes you can find little workarounds, little duct tape solutions for that kind of stuff. But Stylist was saying Sing Street is a movie about a teen with some family struggles and forms a band to impress a girl. And there's scenes in it with them creating music videos. That's kind of cool. I might have to look into that. Daniel's going to cook some dinner and head to bed soon. I have to work at 4. Man, got to get up early. Probably won't see y'all next week, so Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Daniel, always appreciate you tuning in. I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, your support and your friendship, and I hope you have a good dinner. I don't know if you have time to let me know what's on the menu, but again, I can't express enough how much I appreciate you, so I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you next time. I hope your dinner goes good, and I hope all your festivities go well as well. Man, Nuke says, I got to get up to work around 4 too. About to call it a night myself. Well, I think I got maybe a couple other songs, and then I think we're going to put a wrap on this as well. I think I'm going to get into another song here. And yeah, Silas has been posting some shorts. He's actually been doing a fun thing like 12 Days of Christmas, and he's been posting a short every day. Hey, we got JM. Hope you're doing well. JM Unleashed, appreciate you tuning in. I'm going to go into another song here, and we've just been talking about what goes into making music videos and sort of little tips and tricks, especially if you're having to make music videos by yourself. So if you have any questions related to that, let me know. Maybe, I don't know if you like to make videos yourself, or maybe you're just curious what goes into the filmmaking process. So if you have any questions, let me know. All right, let me go into another song for you guys, and then I've got just a few other things I'm going to share with you about music videos, and then we'll put a wrap on all this. I'll have one more song, and we'll finish things up. Here's your courtesy reminder to stay hydrated. All right, let me see what song I got next. All right, we got a song for, the next song is Love's Not Fair. And I did 2 music videos, because I did a music video for Love's Not Fair, which is the version I'm going to play right now. But I also did a music video for the stripped-down version. Now, again, the stripped-down version video is probably one of my best videos I've made. Like, I was really pleased with the quality of that video and how it came out. The actual video itself, again, not bad, but nothing like super special about it. But again, kind of the same scenario. Sometimes when you're working by yourself, sometimes you just got to work with what you got. You just got to make the best with what you can and get it done and then move on and hopefully do a better job on the next project. And that's kind of an example there. You know, if you look at Love's Not Fair, the first video, it's fine. You know, nothing special about it. It's just me performing the song with all the instruments and just kind of getting a few different angles of me doing that. But you know, it works. It gets the job done. And then the stripped down version, I was able to have a little more time to come up with a creative idea and do something a bit more artistic with it, and it came out to be a better video. And then you know, so that's going to happen. You know, some videos you're going to try it and it's like maybe it doesn't quite do as, you know, maybe it doesn't come out quite as good as what you've done before. But that's not the only measure of progress. Again, I think what is important is how well you can do with the time you have. So just keep that in mind. Just do the best you can with what you got and then move on to the next thing and just try to do better with that and just keep progressing and you'll keep getting better. So, all right, this is Love's Not Fair. I got to tune my guitar real quick. Just give me a second here. Oh boy. That sounds okay. And hopefully, yeah, I think I'm just really quiet. That doesn't sound good to me for some reason. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, we're good to go. Here we go. This one's Love's Not Fair. Hope you like it. Staring at my own reflection through shattered bits of glass, showing me the perfect picture of who I really am. But when you look at me, you never turn away. Kneeling next to me and picking up the pieces. Why do you care? I know I'm undeserving of the love that you have chosen to share. It's just not fair. I am such a useless failure, fallen to the ground. Every effort that I muster is never good enough. But when you look at me, standing next to me and holding out your hand, why do you care? I know I'm undeserving of the love that you have chosen to share. It's just not fair. If I take just one moment away from my self-loathing, then maybe I would notice that I'm not meant to be broken. If I take just one moment away from my self-loathing, then maybe I would notice that I'm not meant to be broken. So stop beating up myself. You took the punishment yourself. And it's just foolish pride to think that I could ever hurt myself enough to cover what I've done. never be enough. It makes no sense at all. Why do you care? I know I'm undeserving of the love that you have chosen to share. It's just not fair. But love isn't fair. In spite of all I am, you chose to die for me, and that isn't fair. But love's not fair. All right, there we go. That one's called Love's Not Fair. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, for anyone just tuning in, don't be shy, say hello. Just got a little more we're going to discuss, and then I'm going to play one more song for you all, and we're going to put a wrap on this. This is the last stream of 2024. And I'm going to take some time off to enjoy with family and celebration, and also just some time to reflect on the past year and start making preparations for the next year. Definitely looking forward to 2025. But kind of eager to look back. I definitely feel like I learned a lot this year, and kind of looking forward to sort of really recap and reflect on what I learned. So, all right, let's catch up with the chat here. I know Daniel was heading out, hoping he has a good Christmas. Let's see here. Yeah, JM was saying, I've been using AI for music recently, then add my own video, do my own video editing. Some of the songs I include my own vocals too. Well, that's cool. That sounds like some pretty experimental stuff. I haven't dived into AI yet. Part of me is a little overwhelmed already with trying to juggle what I'm already trying to learn and do and stuff. I know there's definitely some creative uses for AI, and so I'm certain at some point I'll end up dabbling with it for something. I don't know if I'll use it for videos necessarily, maybe not, but as of right now, it's that's kind of just something for later. It's I've already got too much on the to-do list. Oh, thanks, Fab. Fab says my favorite song. Well, I appreciate that. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Yep, that's right, Stim. I've asked for this request more than any other. I hope you enjoyed it. Certainly glad to play it for you. Looks like Stan's going to eat. Stan, you'll have to let me know what's on the menu. Silas says, that's the first of your music videos I've seen. Might be talking about the music video I did for this one, Love's Not Fair. So thank you, Justine. Appreciate the emojis. I love the depreciation? How do you pronounce that? I know what you're trying to say. I don't know how you pronounce that, though. Self-deprecating yourself. It's actually, it's real and hard. It's actually a song about gratitude, though. It's talking about how, because again, if you listen to the bridge, it's the realization that if I take just one moment away from my self-loathing, then maybe I would notice that I'm not meant to be broken. So stop beating up myself. You took the punishment yourself. And it's just foolish pride to think that I could ever hurt myself enough to cover what I've done. I could cut myself dry and it would still never be enough. And so, again, it's a song about God's grace. And it was a big lesson for me. That's what I had to learn. There were some things that I struggled with. And every time I messed up, I would ask for forgiveness, and I would just beat myself up about it. I was just kind of like, man, I need to be stronger. I need to be better. I shouldn't fall for this same trap over and over again. And but there's a verse in the Bible. It's Psalms 103. Drawing a blank on which actual verses it is. I think it's 5 through 7, but it's he does not treat us as our sins deserve, or repay us according to our iniquities. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so great is his love for those who fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so great has he removed our sins from us. And the idea behind that, it helped me realize, like, you know, God isn't beating me up. He's not the one pointing my finger and like, you messed up again, shame on you. You know, he's the one who's eager to forgive and willing to forgive me time and time again, no matter how much I mess up. And so once I started believing that, once I asked for forgiveness, that I was truly forgiven as though I had never sinned, that's when I started feeling less guilty and started feeling more grateful. And that gratitude is what helped me overcome the things I struggled with. You know, it wasn't my own willpower. It wasn't all of me. It was God's grace. And that gratitude changed my desires to draw closer to him. So it is a love song. It's a song about God's love, about his grace. Reminds me of Nirvana a bit. Yeah, it might have I can't say Nirvana was a direct influence, but you know, it might have a little bit of a grunge aesthetic to it, you know. And it fits his voice really well. Well, thank you, Fab. Appreciate that. Love it. Thank you, Silas. Thanks for the fire, Leo. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you for the applause. Silas saying, I couldn't believe it when 2024 started, and now I can't believe it's ending. Yeah, it's crazy how quickly it can go by. Again, I shared this earlier, but all I can say is, you know, if time feels like it's flying by, just make an effort to make more memories. You know, try to kind of change up the daily routine a little bit. Try to do something out of the norm, because the more memories you make, you have more to think back on. You know, when you're kind of just living the same day over and over again on repeat, the whole year kind of blurs together. There's nothing distinctive to think back on. But if you can remember, like, oh, I did that this year, and I did that and that, and it kind of gives you a little more to reflect on. It kind of helps you perceive time a little bit, you know, a little bit slower than how it can feel. Sometimes it feels like time is just totally flying, especially as you get older. Thank you, Leo. Leo says, I really liked the waking up video. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. James says, I would love if you checked out, review a recent music video I published, a collaboration with me and AI. It's called Time's a Thief. It kind of sounds appropriate with what we were just talking about. So let me make note of that. Time's a Thief. And I'm just going to put music video by JM Unleashed. So I'll try to get over and see that when I get a chance. Unleashed. Cool. All right. Yep, Christmas Day, that started it all. That's right. All right, so let's wrap up. We were talking about movie making here. And again, the last stage of the process is just post-production. So after you've got all your footage, you do have to edit it. We were talking about some editors before. And I'm actually using iMovie, which, to be honest, is not, I mean, it gets the job done. It's definitely not like a fancy, elaborate editor. And there's definitely kind of some frustrations. Like, for example, let's say you've got a shot, like one long take, and you want to cut out like the middle part and replace it with something else. In iMovie, if you cut that out and you delete it, it automatically takes the part behind it and moves it into place, like moves it up. And so it's like, oh, it makes it really frustrating when you wanted to leave that spot blank and put something there instead. But I have learned ways around that. In fact, I don't know if any of you are using iMovie, but actually the funny thing is, so when I got first started with my YouTube channel, you know, how do I say this? Okay, I wanted to be a music artist, but I kind of went the hard way around doing it. Like, I knew in order to get people's attention, it's really helpful to make videos that people are actually looking for. So I did a lot of tutorials because people are always searching for how to blank, how to do something. I did a lot of tutorials. And so I made this video. So it's kind of funny. It's one of my most popular videos, how to make a music video in iMovie. And it's a tutorial I made showing how to use iMovie and how to get your footage in sync, and, you know, sync it up with the song, how to make cuts, how to maneuver around iMovie. And it's actually one of my most popular videos, but unfortunately it's like, that's not what I wanted to be, you know, like, you know, I didn't want to be like the tutorial guy, you know, I just wanted to, like, in the video, I'm showing how I made the music video for my song, Into the Unknown, the cover I did for that. And, so that was the plan, was to make a tutorial to promote the song, but it turns out more people showed up just for the tutorial. You know, only a few people, I think, you know, checked out the song and appreciated it. So, you know, that's just been a learning experience, you know, doing all this. And all I can say is, like, you can kind of tell too, I'm just going to say right now, if you do watch the tutorial, I definitely was acting more like a YouTuber and not just like, you know, not just being myself or whatever. So there we go. That's right. Yep. How to make a music video on iMovie, complete tutorial. Yep, that is the one. Cool, cool. All right. Yep, and that was yeah, that was a video for the music video I did for Into the Unknown. But pretty much the last stage, you get in your editor, and that's where you do your cuts. And sometimes it could be really intimidating. Like when it comes to music videos, again, especially if there's no narrative. If there's a narrative, it's a little easier. Like, you know what scene happens first and where it's going. But if you're just getting footage of you performing the song, then it's a little tricky to know like where to start. So I don't really start from the beginning. I just grab like a clip. A clip that I think is interesting. I start with that, and then in iMovie, I grab a second interesting clip, and I put that on top, and then I just cut back and forth between the two. And I cut on beats, so like every few beats, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, switch. So something like that. You know, every few beats, I'll cut, and I just go back and forth between two clips, and then I just kind of keep doing that. I'll bring in another piece of footage, and then I'll replace that with some of the clips. And so I kind of get it sort of alternating between 3 different clips. And then eventually I get it alternating between 4. And then at that point, I'll kind of watch through, and it starts to sort of take shape, because you kind of see like there's certain shots like, oh, that was kind of cool. And then you see ones, okay, that doesn't work, but let me see if I can replace that with another clip. And then you can kind of start shaping it and finding like the most interesting bits that sort of work. And then sometimes you'll get ideas, and so you'll be able to edit with a little more intention of how to, like, you know, maybe cutting on the beat of the music. Like maybe there's like a bump, bump, bump or something in your song. And so you're cutting on those beats to sync up with it. Maybe there's a certain spot and you're like, okay, let's throw some B-roll in here. Like you kind of realize, all right, I've got enough shots of me singing. Now let's show like a shot of, you know, the slow motion shot of me pouring out the water, or like me kicking, you know, the chorus is going to kick in. Let's have some impact. So maybe, you know, kicking the cup or something, you know, that'd be a good thing to cut to at that moment. And then you kind of figure out, like you come up with an idea for the intro, like what you want to do for that. And then the ending. So I almost do like the endings last, like the beginning and the ending. I kind of start in the middle and kind of get all that worked out, and then I figure out what I'm working towards and then how to lead into what I've already made. That kind of helps. And then you just kind of put on the final polish. You know, you might add some of those kin burns in there. You want to do some color correction. Again, in iMovie, you don't really have a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of tools to like stylize your video. Like you can't do a whole lot of color grading and create this like really dramatic look or anything. Most of the image is going to be like what you get out of the camera, and you can just do a little bit to sort of accentuate that a little bit. So for shooting out in the sunlight, the best I just tried to kind of make it a little more contrasty, like kind of sharpen, sort of darken the shadows and stuff. And sorry, I'm talking and like, let me bring it up. So, you know, just try to kind of darken like the black parts of the image. So like, you know, the shadows or like my pants, things like that. Images like me looking down into the cup. Where's it at? You know, making sure you can see me clearly. Where's this other one? You know, when I'm singing into the cup, making sure, you know, first off, just choosing a shot that's already has enough lighting on my face, but then trying to make it so that you can see me clearly. And it's not like there's this awkward shadow over my face or anything like that. So you're just going through, and you're also trying to make sure, especially like if you're shooting like outside, the sun moves, like the lighting's going to be different, and where you're at, there's going to be shadows and stuff. So sometimes you're just trying to get the images to look like they belong together. You know, you don't want like one shot to be really dark and then the next shot really bright and like very inconsistent. You want everything to kind of have a consistent visual tone to it. And then same thing, you know, if we look at something more stylized, like the video I did here, again, I actually shot this in black and white. Like there was a setting on my camera to shoot it in black and white, and I thought that looked for some reason that looked better than making it black and white later. So I went ahead and committed to that. So it already came out looking black and white, and then I just used color correction to kind of, you know, make sure the highlights weren't too harsh, make sure they were like just the right amount, make sure there was enough image in like the mid-range, like you can still see the detail of me and the guitar and all that stuff. But obviously there are strong shadows in this image. So it was just making sure that I was like carved out of the image as best as I could. And but sort of the style is already in camera. You know, a lot of that style, it's not like I just shot this randomly and then later made it look really cool. It's like, no, I intentionally went out and tried to get that look to begin with. Again, shooting outside, it's a little harder to do. This is a video where if I had a better editor, it might have helped, because we kind of have a pretty clean canvas here. Again, maybe if I had more control, and again, if I had more resources, this was already a lot of work just by myself, but if I had more resources, maybe I could have lit this room and made it look a little more dramatic to begin with. But with some color grading, you probably could add like a really cool kind of tone to this, like maybe like a blue kind of color palette or something, or maybe like a green tone, you know, almost like a matrix kind of thing or something like that. You know, maybe you could add some kind of filter effect afterwards. But again, you don't have that ability in iMovie. You know, iMovie, you just have a few tools to kind of correct the image a little bit, you know, kind of get the image to look better, but you can't really do anything too artistic. So if you want to go the artistic route, you got to kind of shoot that way to begin with. So if you're going to use like really cool lights, you know, you kind of got to get that stuff in camera first and then tweak it up if you're using iMovie. Again, other editors, again, like we were talking DaVinci Resolve earlier, might not be the best like editor for clips, but I do think it's pretty good for color grading and that kind of thing if you're trying to add like a visual look for it. So let's see here. All right, I think we're going to wrap up a few things, and then I got one more song for you all. Let's see here. If I could pretend to be anyone, who would it be? David Spade? Probably not David Spade, but I've never really pretended much, but I do have, let's just say like when I am with a group of friends, like it can make me a little bit more goofy and stuff. And so I think I brought that same energy to kind of YouTube. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think I'd pretend to be anyone. I think I just try to be the best version of myself. So awesome stuff, Quincy. Thanks, Silas. I hope you find it helpful. Yeah, I like Tommy Boy as well. It's a funny movie. Maybe he lives in a van down by the river. And Justine saying, this is why I have friends that do video editing. I can do the music, but I don't know about the videos. Yeah, it's a lot, you know, and it definitely would be nice. You know, it's definitely nice if you can have people to collaborate with, and like, okay, I could just focus on the music and then these other people can help me with the video part. And so, but everyone kind of has their different scenarios. So some people, you know, like me, kind of doing a lot of it. And for what it's worth, you know, I enjoy doing a lot of it. There's certain parts where it would definitely be helpful to have some other hands on. And hopefully sometime down the road, I can get that extra help for those particular areas. But, you know, again, I enjoy like the filmmaking part of it, and I enjoy making the music, obviously. But yeah, it can be a bit tricky. So we'll see. Yeah, JM saying, I'm starting to enjoy video editing, but it takes a lot of patience. Yeah, that's true. Any kind of editing takes a lot of patience. So that is absolutely true. All right, everyone, I've got one more song for you, and then we're going to wrap it up. But last thing I want to say, so, you know, this is the last stream of 2024, and it's been a good year. Let me just say I really appreciate all of you. I appreciate you hanging out with me for these streams. I appreciate those of you who check out my music, who share it, you know, leaving likes and commenting on the video. That stuff really helps. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to bringing you more music in 2025, and hopefully, you know, improving and growing in the content and the quality. And so, you know, if you'd like more of that, if you'd like more music from me and you'd like to help me do that, I do have some support links. Again, you can see a link pinned on there, and I just posted another. Oh, whoops, that's the tutorial link. You can check that one out too if you want to learn how to make a music video. Check that out. But if you want to help support my music, I'm going to post a link for that. And there's a few different ways you can do that. The biggest thing, my biggest goal right now is honestly just trying to get more exposure, just trying to build my audience. So
whenever you watch one of my videos and you like it and you leave a comment, that really helps. When you share my videos or you share my music, when you invite people to the streams, that stuff really helps, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much for doing that. And again, if you'd like to help me so that I can transition into this and hopefully one day get to doing this more as a career, there are some ways to support. Again, you heard the good quality of the hoodie. So if you want to get yourself a hoodie to keep warm in winter, there's a merch store in that link. There's also a virtual tip jar if you want to send some support that way. I certainly appreciate that. And then lastly, if you want to stay up to date with all my projects, whenever I release a new song or something, be sure to sign up for my email list. Again, at the bottom of the link there's a way to sign up for the email list, and that just allows me to notify you directly and let you know whenever I've got a new song out. In fact, I'll tell you right now, I've got a new song sneak peek. I've actually already distributed it, but if you want like early access to it and you want to know when it comes out, sign up for the email list. But I'll tell you right now, it's coming out Monday. I've got the stripped down version of Plastic Cup is coming out Monday. It's the vocal and the piano. It's a piano version of the song, and there's going to be a music video for that song coming out Monday. So, but if you want to know like when it's posted, when it's out, and if you want early access to this song, definitely sign up for the email list to do that. All right, here is your courtesy reminder to drink some water. Stay hydrated. And I got one more song for you. Since we've been talking about this song, Plastic Cup, that's what I'm going to play for you, Plastic Cup. But I'm going to be honest, whenever I do a lot of talking, it's a little taxing on my voice, and the song is pretty challenging to sing. So I'm going to do my best, but this one's pretty tough to sing. But we'll see what happens. I hope you like it. And just a reminder, the end of the song, the last verse in the song says, "I know you feel like a piece of trash, thrown away and forgotten, but please don't let go, because to me, you're treasure." And I just want each of you to remember that. To me, you're treasure. There's going to be times in life where sometimes you feel lonely. Sometimes you feel like you're not good enough. Sometimes you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you. And quite frankly, just to put it bluntly, sometimes you feel like, the only time people give you attention is when you're convenient. And then other than that, they just kind of toss you away and forget about you. And so it can be easy to kind of be down on yourself and feel lonely. Sometimes the holiday season, the Christmas season, this can be a lonely time for a lot of people. But I can never express enough just how much I appreciate you all tuning in. And so just know, to me, you're treasure. Don't ever believe those lies. Even when you feel lonely, just know that there is something valuable. There is something worthwhile. Your life has meaning and purpose to it. And don't let those moments of loneliness keep you from growing and benefiting and finding joy in life. Let me get my guitar tuned. And just got to get my distortion on. All right, here we go. This is Plastic Cup.
I once believed I could be anything. Took a chance and chased a dream, but never realized just how lonely things would be. Now I'm crying on the bathroom floor like spilled milk, with a messy story, just moments till I self-destruct, with no one here to clean me up. Would someone just show me some love and tell me that I am getting enough? Like poured out, all that's filled me up, slowly tossed away like a plastic cup. And here I'm trying once again, like litter trapped inside the wind. Still believing I can get a hold of things. Every effort leads to new mistakes, and I crawl back to to the same old place. I need someone who can lend a hand and pull me from this garbage can. Need someone to show me some love and tell me that I am getting enough. I poured out all that's filled me up, still I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. With someone to show me some love and tell me that I am getting enough. I poured out all that's filled me up, still I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. Still I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. In spite of how much it hurts, there's something inside of me, and I know it's more than just temporary. With someone to show me some love and tell me that I am getting enough. I poured out all that's filled me up, still I'm tossed away like a plastic cup. I know you feel like a piece of trash, thrown away and forgotten, but please don't let go, 'cause to me, you're a treasure. All right, there we go. Again, that's Plastic Cup, and this is the last stream of 2024. Looking forward to seeing all of you next year. Gonna catch up with the chat and then wrap things up. All right, let's see here. Yeah, just catching up. Well, thank you. Silas says, doing these streams has been a highlight of the year, Quincy. Well, thank you, Silas. I'm glad you enjoy them. I've certainly appreciated having you with them. Justine saying, awesome, Quincy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Yep, thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well and Happy New Year. Silas says, thank you so much for the support you gave me this year, Quincy. My pleasure, absolutely. And just keep going, man. You know, keep working on your craft, your musicianship, your singing. And the more you strive, just, again, aim for progress. You know, it's easy to be kind of hard on ourselves, but just keep striving to get better each time, and you will. Fab says, I'm glad Quincy remembers my real name. Shh, it's Fab, you know it. Well, I'll keep that a secret unless someone, you know, hears when I said it earlier, you know. So great lyrics. Thank you, Justine. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Thanks, Quincy. My pleasure, Silas. Absolutely. Let's see here. Thank you for the emojis. Great vocal change. Well, thank you. Yeah, I did okay. It's that second verse. That's what I got to work on. Like, I always do fine the first two, and then by the time I get to the second chorus, that's where it's like you have to hang out on those high notes longer, and I'm a bit more worn by then. So I'll have to practice that. Got to work on that in my vocals. Thank you for the thank you for the emojis. Well done, Quincy. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that. Awesome. Thank you, Silas. Excellent. Thank you, Justine. Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. You really helped me with my songwriting. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you ever have any questions, I'll try my best to share what I can, and hopefully it's helpful. In 2025, do you have any goals before it begins? This might be a time capsule. Yes and no. I definitely will have goals. But like I said, to be honest, I've been so busy
I'm going to put out the stripped down version. The song you just heard, Plastic Cup, I'm going to put down the stripped down version on Monday. And I've been working so hard to get the song done and get the video shot. And I still have to edit the video, so I have to get the video done in time for Monday because that's the due date. And once that's done, I will finally, I'll have a break, finally have some time off. And like I said, I just kind of need some time to reflect. Like I need to look back on the year, see what worked, see what didn't work, and learn from that and use that to sort of guide me for the goals for 2025. So I absolutely am going to have goals, but I can't necessarily say what they are off the top of my head because even I don't necessarily know yet. I know one of my goals, technically I reached it this year. I had a goal to release a song in 8 weeks, and I did that with Plastic Cup. So the next goal is to do that again. Now, if everything goes according to plan, the goal would be to release 6 songs next year. Or I should say, it's 6 songs, but if you include the stripped down version, it's going to be 12 songs. So that's kind of a goal, but I think the more important goal is hitting that deadline of 8 weeks. I want to get those 8 weeks better. Like, I want to get a rhythm with that. So it's not so much how many songs I release, it's more so the process of releasing those songs. I want to get better at that process. And then as a byproduct, I will be able to release more songs. And so that's kind of the first thing on my mind is just getting better at that. But we'll get there. Jay, I'm saying, if you ever want to turn that song into a head turner, I would consider changing the lyrics from, something inappropriate, So, if you want to do that, but I think I'll stick with Plastic Cups, But appreciate the creative input. But anyway, guys, I do appreciate you all. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's hear again. If you would like to show some support so I can keep bringing you guys more music, there's a link for that right there. My big ESP, E, engage, S, share, P, provide. So E, just engaging with the content. Again, I'm going to be putting out a music video this Monday, so if you could watch it, like it, leave a comment, and share it, all that really helps. Inviting people to the streams and sharing my music, all that stuff, just to create more exposure really helps. And again, S is sharing, so sharing new songs when I have them. And again, if you want to keep up with that stuff, in that link you can find a way to sign up for my email list, and that allows me to notify you whenever the songs come out. Last thing, P, provide. So if you'd like to provide for me, some ways you can support me financially, there's a virtual tip jar in that link, and I definitely appreciate anything you're willing to give. You can get yourself some merch. Again, there's hoodies, there's some beanies, hats and t-shirts and things like that, so definitely check that out. But guys, thank you so much. I think we're going to put a wrap on this, and that's going to be it. So I'm going to take a break for a little while, and then we'll pick things back up in 2025. So I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year, and until next time.